Hey, welcome back to Matt's Nave Horsemanship again today. And today I want to talk about something that, well, it's all tied in again. And I was actually thinking about, using a clip from an older video until I realized just how old it actually was. And I thought, I'll do it all over again. But you see, this video is inspired by a comment made on a recent video. Just a couple videos ago, I was talking about good horsemanship and what it was. And a longtime viewer made a comment. And Gary, you know who you are. And it was an excellent comment. And it was almost, it was worded slightly different, but what he was saying was exactly the same thing that I said in a video a long time ago. Now, I don't know if he actually was influenced by that a very long time ago, because, that was a number of years back, or maybe he's just a real smart fella, and he figured it out for himself. Either way, Gary is either already a very good horseman, or he's going to be a very good horseman. Either way, it doesn't really matter which. I don't care. He's got what it takes. And I've said this before, it's not about methods and techniques, it's about the mentality. And I was talking about good horsemanship, and he mentioned in a comment what his definition of good horsemanship was, and it was about the difference between a horseman and a trainer. And I'm going to very quickly explain that. This is going to be a super short video, because, there's not a whole lot to talk about. It's just you take the two terms and do a 180 with your mentality, and you got it. Because as a horseman, you have to be accommodating to the horse. You have to look at the horse and figure out, what does the horse need? What do I have to do for that horse to help it along, help it understand? How can I make my cues clearer? What has that horse been through? Maybe. We don't always know the history, but quite often you get bits and pieces in their behavior that kind of indicate to you what the horse has been through and where it's at currently. And I think I'm just going to start off by saying, just right off the bat, real short and sweet, the difference between a horseman and a trainer. And it's really, really simple, and it's pretty much what Gary said in that comment, is a horseman looks at the horse and says, hey, what can I do for that horse? How can I help that horse? And, there's a lot of ways that you can do that. The trainer, on the other hand, he looks at the horse and says, what can I get that horse to do for me? Complete 180. In one, you're doing for the horse, and in the other, the horse is doing for you. Complete opposite. And that's the difference between a horseman and a trainer. Now, just because a trainer isn't a horseman doesn't mean he's not effective. If they know enough good techniques and methods, they can be quite effective and do a decent job. But there's always going to be a few of those horses that they get that they're going to deem to be untrainable. And I'm sure you've probably heard that term. And if you haven't, you're going to. Because it's only half true, though. The horse is untrainable by them. I personally do not believe that there is any such thing as an untrainable horse. Well, not typically. There's probably a few very rare exceptions where a horse is suffering from some kind of a mental or neurological problem that simply makes it impossible for the horse to comprehend and respond appropriately or safely. But I'm pretty sure those are very, very rare, those moments that happens. The rest of the time, the horse is just untrainable by that person. And that's kind of the difference between the horseman and the trainer. You see, the horseman's a lot more flexible. And the horseman comes along and figures out, how do I approach this problem? Okay, I think I have an idea. Let's try this. And I've talked about that before, about how good horsemen are largely experimenters. We try things and see what works. And if it doesn't work, okay, we'll try something different. Don't keep trying the same thing over and over like the trainer does. He has only so many tricks in his bag. He's taught to do things a certain way. And if that doesn't work, lost cause. Whereas if a horseman runs into a problem, he steps back and looks at the problem and figures it out. figures out what he's going to do and how he's going to do it. So, prime differences. So that's one. Another example would actually be a recent video I did where I talked about that one horse where we had to start out small, doing what the horse can handle, not exceeding its threshold. And that's part of horsemanship. See, that would never happen with a trainer. A trainer would have said, you're going to go over that barrel, not I'm going to find something small enough for you to go over first. Now, the trainer would say, you're going over the barrel. The horseman would say, let's see what you can handle. And if we have to go smaller, we'll find something smaller. That's the difference. There's a difference. You're accommodating the horse as a horseman. Horsemanship, and that's kind of I've mentioned in videos a few times what is horsemanship, and it's absolutely not the dictionary definition. They focus solely on your ability to control the horse and ride and stuff like that. I think that's horribly wrong and misleading, especially when the term horsemanship gets used the way it does so often. It has nothing to do with riding. It has to do with your ability to communicate with the horse and relate to the horse and things like that. And well, to me, my definition of horsemanship, it's quite different than what the dictionary says. And I've read several, so it's not just one random definition. I've read several, but my definition of horsemanship is understanding the horse and how it perceives the world, how it reacts to things, and all that good stuff. Because then you know what you're dealing with, and you know how to approach things, and you can work your way around things and accommodate the horse based on its physiology and mental capacity and all this stuff, and its senses, and well, so on and so forth. So the difference, trainers and horsemen. Horsemen look at the horse and say, what can I do for the horse? Trainer looks at the horse, says, what can I get that horse to do for me? Completely backwards from one another, and that's why it's really important that you understand the difference. And I've said many times that good horsemanship is not about methods and techniques, it's a mentality. You've got to get your head in the right place to be able to do it. Now, I could give you a lot of other examples too, I'm sure, if I thought about it for a little while, but I'm going to keep it short today, and I'm sure I'll give you more examples as time goes on, but for now, I'll leave it at that and just say it's mentality, not methods and techniques. And if you get your head in the right place, sooner or later you're going to do okay. Even if you don't all have the best methods and techniques, maybe your timing's not great or whatever, but if you're thinking about things the right way, sooner or later you're going to get it right, or at least get it to work for you. You might not be perfect, and with many years of experience you'll get better, but short term, I mean, not everybody has half a dozen or 1,000 horses to work with. It's just not going to happen. You don't get that level of experience. So, you may never be a super horseman, but if your head's in the right place, you're going to do okay. You're going to be able to train your horse, and you're going to be able to ride your horse and handle your horse with understanding and compassion and effectiveness and safety. I've mentioned that one a lot of times, and that's one of those things that's pretty important, is safety. And hey, on that note, that reminds me of another perfect example of horsemen versus trainers, because, it's not just trainers. This is an example that I used a couple times, and it's got to do with riding instructors. And one of the things that they like to teach you to do is push them through it, make the horse do it. And I think that is just a horrible thing to do, and it's going to get somebody hurt, if not the horse. One of the riders is going to get hurt, because when you're pushing a horse in a situation, if it's starting to balk, it's because it's not comfortable with the situation. And if you try and push it through, well, you're taking an already worried horse and forcing it to do something it really doesn't want to do, and, well, bad things happen. And you don't want bad things to happen. And sometimes they're not being bad. Horses don't even understand the concept of bad. They're just doing what horses do, and that's part of horsemanship, is understanding the horse. And it's just, people say horses are unpredictable. No, they're not. They're 100% predictable. They will always be a horse. So, and that's part of horsemanship, is they're going to be a horse. So look at everything from the horse's perspective and what is going to work for that horse so that you can accommodate them. You know, don't push them through it. Figure out what is it they're scared of that's creating this problem in the first place. Why are they resisting? Why don't they want to do something? And this is a topic that's closely related. I'm going to get into in another video. I'm going to talk about the difference between symptoms and problems. Never mind the what, figure out the why. And the same thing. I actually did more than one video on that in the past. Different wording, same concept. And the more I think about it, the more I realize how important it is. And all I've discovered in many cases, it's not just horses, there's other things that I have to deal with at work, that the same principle applies. And it actually applies to just about everything in life when it comes right down to it. So if you become a better horseman, you're going to become a better person. So think about it that way. Do you want to be a trainer or a horseman? You can be one or the other. But a horseman, a good horseman, can generally train, ride, all that good stuff. But a trainer, well, he'll never be a horseman. Well, I shouldn't say never. Sometimes they are. But generally a trainer is not a horseman. He might be able to ride, he might be able to train, but he's not going to be a horseman. Whereas the horseman can be a rider and a trainer. So just being a trainer doesn't make you a horseman, but a good horseman, he'll figure out how to do training, even if he doesn't have all the same methods and techniques. So, trainers, horsemen, which are better? They're different, that's for sure. I'll let you decide which one's better and which one do you want to be. Do you want to be the one that can work effectively with absolutely every horse in front of you? Or do you want to be the one that's going to be going around saying, no, that horse is untrainable? It's all up to you. Horseman or trainer. Have a great day.